Today, let's talk about Automation Anywhere and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. For those of you who don't know, I absolutely love vintage video games. Specifically, I grew up in the early 80s. I love Nintendo games. One of the games that I used to own, still own it today actually, and really like is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is a console version of a game that was originally released on arcade, which was Punch-Out. In Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, the player, Little Mac, has to fight through a series of fighters until they eventually progress up to fighting Mike Tyson himself. The way that the game works is there's a series of patterns that you're supposed to recognize within each fighter. They might do a certain tell, and that tells you that you should hit him in the body or hit him in the head, right? And so for every fighter, you go through and you watch these kind of patterns to see if you can recognize how to fight the fight, how to eventually beat that fighter. I wanted to see if I could create a bot using Automation Anywhere to beat the first fighter, who is Glass Joe, in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I want to explain the code real quick before we get into this. I started building this bot by using the Smart Recorder. The Smart Recorder will record all of your keystrokes, all of your mouse movements, stuff like that. The problem is it does not record the time that you took in between each of those steps. So I needed it to record the way that I would fight Glass Joe so that I can understand the pattern that I was using different punches in. So I knew that it wasn't actually going to work for the end product, but I used it so I could reference it in determining how I wanted the final bot to actually fight. Now, going through that, I recognized that I threw mostly headshots with a combination of body shots, but I knew that the bot needed to be able to add fades in so that it could sometimes dodge punches that might be coming its way from Glass Joe. Additionally, when stamina is low for Little Mac, meaning he turns pink on the screen, the bot has to be able to dodge punches to regain stamina and be able to continue swinging. So I had to add in several fades within the process so that sometimes if Little Mac was in trouble, he could get out of that situation. If we look at the code here, the first 6 lines are really just getting through the menu system. We open up the game, we press start after the Mike Tyson intro to start the game, and then start again so that we can initiate our first fight with Glass Joe. Because I don't know how long the fight is going to last, I put the loop count at 80 times. Technically, that would be enough for me to get through at least 3 rounds, possibly go further, but I don't know how long each fight is going to go. I also decided at one point to have a punch chooser where I would variably determine punches and punch at random. It didn't work out really well, so I ended up removing most of that code. If we look at the code that exists, on line 10 we start with pressing the control button down. I mapped the control button to the up arrow on the D-pad of an NES controller. What that means is we're going to be holding up before we insert our next 2 keystrokes. On line 13 and 14, we can see that I'm pressing F and G. The bot will press F and G because those fields are mapped to the A and B button on a controller. Finally, after we've looped through pressing A and B several times, we come back to line 16 where we finally let go of the control button, which stops us from pressing up. Now, at this point, I added our first fade. I didn't want the bot to get stuck in a loop so long of offensive punching that it never actually faded and never tried to dodge a punch. So we add our first fade on line 17. Line 18 and 19, we press the A and B button again, which again are mapped to keys F and G to throw body punches. Finally, we press 2, which is our start button, to throw our super punch should one be available. We then press left and right arrow again to try 2 more fades, hopefully trying to dodge some punches. I've tested this only a couple times. Let's see how it works. So we'll hit run bot. And let's see how it goes. So getting through this part was mainly just about timing. I watched this intro several times. I waited for the bot to, do it. I think it's a 10-second delay that I added there so that it could get through that first intro before pressing start. It then presses start again once it's at that welcome screen to the Glass Joe fight. So the other part that took a long time was figuring out how long Glass Joe was going to do his intro. If you see, he dances around for quite a while, and then the fight starts. I'm going to turn down the audio of that real quick. So the bot's going through its loop right now. There you can see body punch, fade, fade, and then uppercuts. If you notice that when Glass Joe turns to the side like that and flashes pink, that's supposed to be his tell that I'm supposed to take action at that point. One option was to try to do image recognition and look for those certain tells, but my thought was the image recognition would take so long that by the time that particular image was found, the bot would be so slow to react that I wouldn't be able to take advantage of that particular moment. So if you see, I took a big shot there. Oh man, I hope we can make it out of this round. Alright, there we go. So when I just hit him in the head, that gave us a star punch, and there I just executed it. So if you get a punch that is perfectly timed, you'll get a star, and that star is in the upper, upper left hand corner of the screen. When I get a star, I'm going to try that once per loop just to see if I have one. And that star is basically like your big power punch. Alright, we made it through the first round. So I would say that we did okay. We got a knockdown. We didn't get knocked down, which is what I was really afraid of. Let's get into this next round. The other point I wanted to explain is if you see the heart, that is our stamina. So right now we have a stamina of 20. And that means that 20 punches can be blocked, or we can take 20 hits before we turn pink again. So I had to try to throw a combination of punches so I wasn't just throwing things that were constantly getting blocked. Oh man, that's another big shot. Okay, so the bot is working properly. The fades are working. There, we missed one, luckily. So unfortunately the timing of Glass Joe is not the same every time. We do have a big punch here. There we go. We used it. Wow. 2 knockdowns and 0 knockdowns on our own. So far the bot's doing well. The timing here is where it gets really tricky. That was a count of 5, and I don't necessarily know how long he's going to be down every time. Now we're in trouble. So when I turn pink, that's when we really need the bot to fade. And luckily it did, just by chance in timing of its reaction. Oh, took a knockdown. So we want to see if the bot will be able to get back up by its keystrokes. It was able to do that. Really, this is just going to be luck, I think, if we can win this fight. Oh, whenever we turn pink, it's not good news for Little Mac. Luckily, we were saved by the bell. We got out of round 2. So if you can see, Little Mac is a little worse for the wear, but Glass Joe is also got a black eye. Because our loop has start in it, I really don't have to do anything at the in-between round section, because eventually that screen's going to be submitted anyway when we get to the end of our loop. Okay, so we're actually down on life right now, but we started the round with a full 20 on our stamina, and we got lucky with a super well-timed punch there. So because the bot happened to be in its loop for throwing uppercuts, and that happened to be when Glass Joe was running in after his super tail there, we got lucky with an automatic knockdown punch. We really need some more of those well-timed punches so that we can get a star. Oh, alright. So, let's hope the bot can get back up here. Alright. We're cutting it close. We have a minute... Oh no. Yeah, about a minute 30 left in this round. Once we're pink here, we're really stuck in this loop. We gotta... Oh. Alright. So this could be not a great round for the bot. The fades really have to get lucky on their timing. Otherwise, we're just going to keep taking shots from Glass Joe. Alright, so we got a little something going there. We got a star punch. As long as we don't get hit, we can use the star punch. Okay, good. So we still have it. So he's been knocked down twice this round. I think the pattern is if there are 3 knockdowns in a single round, it's a TKO. So depending on where we are in our loop, if we take a punch or if we get blocked, I think that means we lose our star punch. Luckily, we did get a lucky shot right there. And the bot has won! So, I tested this. I'm going to stop the bot real quick. So I tested this no less than 8 times before I tried to actually record a couple of them, and the bot was not doing great. It had a couple fights that it won by decision at the end, which meant that there were more knockdowns that the bot had than Glass Joe had. I also had a couple where the bot actually won in the very first round, and it got the knockdowns in that first round, TKO, super short video. So the lesson here is that the timing on this is not perfect, right? When you're playing with a video game that does have some variability and randomness built into it, it's not going to be a perfect solution every time. But this was just a fun bot for me to try to build on the weekend just to see if I could come up with something. I would encourage everyone to try to just meet their own needs and build something fun. I learned a lot about the way you use keystrokes. I learned a lot about the timing of things. So it was a fun bot to build, albeit it was challenging. The testing took a while because the bot kept losing, and I really am just a victim sitting here. I would try and change the timing around, and that obviously changes things every time. But the bot won the fight. I'm super psyched about that. Got a good recording. Please like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys tuning into the full thing. I'm glad the bot finally got its win. Go Little Mac.